Well, Commissioner, the ACA conference has come to an end. It's been another great conference, a lot of valuable information being shared between the agencies. Why do you think these conferences are so important?
They're very critical. You bring corrections professionals together, not only from America, but globally, come together and share ideals and talk about best practices. Tennessee, we've been accredited. We began the accreditation process in the 80s. And this process is very difficult. Meeting the standards and staying in compliance in the reports that we submit to ACA, and just the buy-in from the staff and the dedication it takes from the staff to maintain accreditation is huge. But we come together twice a year, really, to hear ideals, new ideals, what's emerging in corrections in regards to supervision or treatment or health care of offenders. And you share ideas and you collaborate with other people in the field, and also those from outside the field that are coming into corrections and sharing ideas. We had time today to share with Judge Sloan and talk about some of the things that we were doing in Tennessee. And he's recognized nationally, and it's just having an opportunity to share new ideas and staying on the cutting edge of what we know works to meet the mission of corrections, which is really putting people back in our communities in a better shape than we found them.
And one of the things that I heard consistently in some of the workshops and committees that I stepped in on was that Tennessee is one of the best correctional agencies in the country. I mean, I heard that from people from Pennsylvania, Texas. What does that say about the work of the employees of the TDOC?
Well, the work we do it's very challenging and it's complex. It's difficult. It's not easy work. And I think I'm glad to hear that. I hear it from some directors from time to time when we share ideas about the new work that's being done in Tennessee, and just the change of the mission, really, of our department, focusing on rehabilitation and making sure we have the right offenders incarcerated in our facilities, but also those that can be in the public, to supervise them in the public and provide evidence-based practices. We've made a lot of changes in the last year or two. Some of them are still new, some of them we're still working the kinks out of, but people in other states recognize what we're doing. They see the results, and it's just encouraging. But it's just a reflection of the good work that the people of our department are doing. The people who work in our facilities, who work in our communities each and every day, the dedication that I talked about to maintain accreditation is the dedication that we see every day with our employees, and it's just a testament to the great work that they do. Although there is criticism from time to time, and it's as I said, it's very difficult work, but our people do a great job each and every day.
It's good to hear it from the public, and when you hear it from your peers, does it have a special meaning for you that they recognize?
Well, I think there's a sense of pride there that we all share. But we share ideals, right? I mean, we don't have all the best answers, and we're always open to looking for new ways to do our business. And again, what is the research telling us, and what do you see in best practices in other states? And being open to bring those to Tennessee. We're fortunate, in my opinion, to work for a governor who has brought that to the forefront with criminal justice reform and looking at what are we getting for the return on investment for our corrections work, and how do we need to change that to be a better model for Tennessee and for the citizens of Tennessee.
You talked about reaccreditation, and we talked to the community supervision folks here earlier to achieve 100% compliance.
That's exactly right. I mean, so mandatory, you have mandatory and non-mandatory standards, of course. The community supervision section of the Tennessee Department of Corrections received 100% compliance with both mandatory and non-mandatory standards. It's great to go into a compliance hearing with that report. I've been in other meetings sometimes where you didn't have that kind of report, but it's just another testament to the work that we're doing and the employees are doing that manage our offenders in the community. Many of them have caseloads that's too high, over 120. And they struggle sometimes with the work, the paperwork, the documentation. day in and day out, they're delivering a great product, and they're helping people change their lives. And it really speaks volumes to their dedication to the mission of the department.
How would you say that the general public, anyone in the community who's watching, might be able to collaborate with us on this effort to get people back home to their families?
That's a great question. So you've heard Governor Lee say that, government's not the answer, and it's really not. And I've made this point before. Our communities across Tennessee, we really have to take ownership for our communities and the people that live in our communities. I live in Obion County in West Tennessee, and I would tell the community leaders in Obion County, we have to take a stand in Obion County to lift up those that need lifting up in our counties. Give people an opportunity to correct issues and for second chances where we can give second chances. And also focus on the things that we know are driving people to the jails today, whether it be drug treatment issues or mental health issues or the addiction to drugs. What can we do locally to help those nonprofits, helping the fellow citizens in that community to have a better life and a second chance? And I see that today in Tennessee. I see that across our state with people stepping forward and being willing to take on that new initiative.
And before we leave this great conference, the people here elected you president for the next term.
Yes.
What do you envision for the American Correctional Association during your tenure and for corrections?
So that's a great question. 150-year association. We've been around for 150 years in the American Correctional Association. This is not something that happened, the last decade. I have a lot of thoughts. That's something I have to establish before I become president as what's my platform? What are we really going to focus on? And I think about, the profession of corrections and every person that plays a part in our field in the professional correctional realm. How do we lift up and tell our story better? How do we share with the public and in many cases lawmakers and others who sometimes may not really understand the complexity of corrections, and how do we get that message out? It's important because when people better understand our business and understand the nuances of what we do and the challenges of what we do, just like today in America, every state just about is facing vast vacancy rates and very high vacancy rates and turnover. How does that really affect public safety, and what can we do? It's not just on corrections to fix that. It takes a collaborative effort, and how can we come together in different states to help with that problem? And really, I think when people better understand what we do in corrections, they're more apt to come to the table and help with that. But lifting up the profession in corrections, the professionals that work in corrections, and also the true mission of corrections, which is rehabilitation and giving people the opportunity for them to have a better life and return to our communities and be productive.
Corrections has changed so much in the 37 years since you first became a correctional officer.
Yes.
As a young man.
It has changed, and I'll say this, it's changed for the better. I saw a time in my career where people were sent to prison and the key was turned and people thought, out of sight, out of mind, right? The problem's solved, but we forget 95% are coming back home. Today you see a true focus on that reality, not only in Tennessee, but also in every other state, in most states, that they realize that we have to do something while they're with us, but also those that may not need to come to a hard bed or to a prison. There may be options in the community that we can better supervise someone and provide opportunities that for them to correct issues they might have at $4 a day versus $80 a day. Good return on investment. It's just a smart way of doing corrections.
We have so much more that we want to hear from you over the next year, and we just appreciate your time, Commissioner.
Well, thank you, but again, I want to say just to the employees of our department, so much thank you for what you do. I don't say that enough, and the Department of Corrections, our employees day in and day out support us, and they are the best, and they do a great job. It's and many times a thankless job. It's one where I've said before, people miss ball games with their families and they're not home on holidays because they're working a mandatory shift somewhere. I recognize that as your commissioner, and I've done that time in uniform, and I've missed those opportunities with families. And I just want you to know that I appreciate the work you do, everyone for TDOC, the work you do, and we've got a good year coming up, and I look forward to great things in the future.